What is that first, like, what, I guess to that point then, from like when you started from like 14 to 18, you're back in New York, like what is like that big breakthrough moment that you had, other than, I mean, like, you know, you're sent across the world, you're booking jobs, it's great, you know, getting experience in the industry. What was that moment that was like, oh my gosh, this is the biggest thing that's happened to me up until now?
I'd say probably the first time I worked for Vogue would be pretty cool. When I was in Singapore, the first time I ever went, when I was 14, I ended up booking 4 covers in the first 2 months I was there. So that honestly, right off the bat, was really cool for me. I was on the cover of this magazine called Style. I was on the cover of Female twice, and then there's one called Design that I was on the cover of. So those right off the bat were really cool. And then I also booked a campaign for a large fashion mall there in Singapore. Then this was when I was 14. I went over to Japan and I started working for brands like Giorgio Armani. I did a show there. I had a campaign for Converse, and they actually made me, this is really cool, I still have them. They made me into little stickers, Converse stickers, that whenever you opened a magazine, they were there like a little pamphlet just to hand out for free. And so like everybody in Japan just had my little stickers. So things like that were really cool. But then once I got to New York, one of my first jobs there, I booked a cover of a big fashion magazine in New York. And so that was really cool because it was me and there were 2 other girls on the cover. And I can't remember exactly who they are at this moment, but both of those models were big names who were already established. And so I remember when I got this cover, my agent called me and she was like, because there were like 10 girls off the shoot. She called me and she was like, Madison, like, you're not going to believe it. I was like, what? Like, oh geez, like what now? What went wrong? And she was like, no, you got the cover. And I was like, the cover of what? I didn't even know I was up for a cover. I thought we were just shooting to be in the magazine. She was like, you got the cover along with like such and such and such and such. And so I was like, that's insane. So I think that was really cool. But then getting to be in Vogue, I've worked for Vogue Japan and Vogue Australia. And I think that really was just like something that every model aspires to do. So I think that was probably my first major thing where I was like, I feel accomplished now. Like, I feel like I've done something.
Yeah, because of all those years of hard work, right? All of those auditions around the world that you didn't get, right? And it's a numbers game. And then like for being, like I said, consistency and persistency, it works out. And, you know, you keep going up and finally you get to a spot and they're like, you're exactly what we're looking for. Let's make it work. You've done all the hard work. It's not like you show up on your first day and they're like, okay, you're exactly what we're looking for, but now we have to like fast track you and train you into walking and doing everything right. And like, you know, it's just hard work, isn't it? Like that's all it boils down to is showing up and working hard and being consistent, and you'll get it at the end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, because some of these, it's not like I had never been up for Vogue before. I'd been up for Vogue since I was 14 years old, and it took me 4 years, but I finally got it. And some of these, you know, the person who casted me was a casting director who I had casted for so many times at Fashion Week, more times than I could possibly count, like to the point where whenever I saw his name pop up on my email, like you have to go here again, I was like, oh, why? Like, I already know he doesn't like me. He hasn't booked me before. Why are you sending me back there? And then he eventually did book me for a couple shows, but he's the one who booked me for my first Vogue editorial. And so it's like, you keep showing up and maybe you see the same people 100 times. Maybe they reject you 100 times, but you go there and eventually one day, maybe they see something they like or something that has changed, or you're right for the right project finally. And they're going to remember you because they've seen you so many times and you've taken their rejection and you've just kept showing up. And so that's kind of what happened.